Most people are spending way too much time watching the economy and not enough time studying their economy. Because even if the economy improves or crashes, you can still be broke. And you definitely don't want to fall victim to wherever the economy goes next. In my last video, I ended by saying focus on your economy. And in this video, I want to break down exactly what that means. Your personal economy has a structure. And once you understand that structure, you can stop reacting to every headline and start building something that actually gives you more control. The literal definition of an economy is the complex system of how a society produces, distributes, and consumes goods and services. Now let's make that personal. Your economy is made up of three things: what you produce, how you distribute your time, money, and energy, and what you consume. That's it. Production, also known as income; consumption, also known as liabilities; and distribution, also known as your net or cash flow. And when you understand those three things, you can start living your life while you're looking at your economy in the form of a dashboard with metrics that you can keep track of to make sure that you're heading in the right direction. So let's start with production. Most people think this only means their job. And yes, your job is part of your production engine. Your job produces income. Your skills also, though, can produce opportunities. Your experience produces leverage. That's the whole point of a resume after all. But your job is not your entire economy. Because what happens if that job disappears? What happens if the company closes? Or if the market changes? What happens if a technology like AI replaces part of your work? Or if your industry slows down? That's why your personal economy cannot only depend on one paycheck. Your production engine has multiple parts. Let's discuss those. First, you have your skill sets. What are you actually doing at your job? Do you sell? Can you communicate? Can you build, negotiate? Can you analyze numbers? Can you manage people? Do you create contents? Do you solve problems that other people are willing to pay for? Your skills are one of your biggest assets because they can move with you. A job can be taken away. A company can shut down. But a real skill set goes with you anywhere. The second piece of your production engine is your charisma, also known as reputation. This is your brand before you can even call it a brand. It's your resume, your track record, your word, your results, what people say about you when you're not in the room. You could be the best carpenter in a factory, for example. And if the factory closes, your charisma or reputation is what gets you to the next opportunity. It literally gets you the next opportunity. That is why how you work matters, not just what you get paid today. Because your charisma or reputation can produce future income before you can even ask for it. The third piece of your production engine is your health. And yes, if you don't use it, you lose it. Your body and your mind are the most valuable assets you have. So the stronger your body is, the sharper your mind becomes. And the sharper you are, and the more you're able to carry, create, and build experience in life. Now, of course, not everyone starts from the same place. Some people are born with real physical or mental challenges. But here's what's fascinating. When one ability is limited, the human body and mind often adapt by strengthening another. For example, studies have shown that people born deaf can often develop stronger visual processing and visual memory. In other words, the body finds ways to compensate. Weakness in one area can force strength to develop somewhere else. I personally know someone who was unable to walk most of his life. And you know what? He zoned in on his biggest strength. His mind is so sharp today, he built an empire for his family. Yes, he is married, has wonderful children, lives a great life, and is loved and respected by so many people. The fourth piece to your production engine is your network. Your network starts with your family, your friends, your past clients, your past colleagues, your coworkers, your community, the people who know what you do, trust how you do it, and are willing to either help you, refer you, or even open a door or an opportunity for you. We've always heard the saying, your network is your net worth. But you know what? They're not only that. They're the electricals and the fuel to your entire economy. This is something I wish I've learned even earlier in my life. Money's powerful, but people are a much greater resource. The right relationship can introduce you to the right client. The right mentor can save you years of mistakes. The right friend can push you when you're getting lazy. And even having the right spouse can help you stay grounded when life gets chaotic, because it will. Trust me, it will. The fifth one is your assets. Now, this is the trendy one that everyone likes to talk about. It's the real estate, the businesses, the stocks, the bonds, intellectual property, like digital assets, anything that can work for you or with you. Don't forget the with you part. And for most people, this is usually the order. You work by building your health and skill sets as much as you can, as early as you can in your life. Then build the income. Start low. And it's okay to start with little income as long as you can sustain yourself. And then climb up to the highest paying bidder for your skills as you develop more experience. And remember, as you develop more experience. The charisma part will come in naturally, but you still actually need to work on it, which we will talk about in a minute. Build the relationships. Make a habit to set an annual goal of meeting X number of people, of new quality people in your life. You're going to have surplus to build assets. And don't wait for too long on this one. As soon as you have a meaningful amount saved up to work for you, put it to work, or have someone put it to work for you. When you see all these as components of your production engine to your personal economy, then you will start producing more than just a paycheck. Let's get to the second part of this. Now, the second part of your economy is your distribution, also known as your cash flow, your net. This is where most people lose the game because production is the engine with which you make, but distribution is what you do with what you make. Where does your money go? Where does your time go? How about your attention, your energy? Where do they go? Because every month your life produces some level of surplus. Maybe it's a lot. Maybe it's little. Maybe right now it feels like absolutely nothing. But whatever you have left over, your spare cash, time, or attention, that is the part you have to redistribute right back into your production engine. So, for example, your skills. How about taking some classes? Getting better at sales or negotiations, construction, finances, etc., etc., learning how to communicate better. How about building your charisma and reputation? Post content, document your work, create proof that you are genuine, hardworking, and good at what you do. What about your network? Maybe call or be in contact with people. Set a goal to call X number of people every day, even if you're in a small circle and you end up calling these same people every day. Even sending a funny video to friends, keep that connection alive. Have lunch with someone. Don't eat alone. Join a community or perhaps a church. Going to events, etc., etc. You get the picture. Be useful before you even ask for something. Go offer your help. Volunteer in services. Okay, how about the assets part? Saving for a down payment on investment property. Starting a small business, buying tools, equipment, something that can eventually produce income outside of your labor. But the key is this: your extra money and time should not disappear. They should be assigned, because if you don't distribute your money intentionally, your liabilities will distribute it for you. And if you don't distribute your time intentionally, the same happens. Distractions will distribute it for you. That is why people can make more money and still feel broke. The income went up, but guess what? The system did not improve. Let's get to the third part. This is your expense side, also known as liabilities. It's your lifestyle, your subscriptions, your car payment, your rent or mortgage, eating out, shopping, debt, habits, wife. Don't tell anybody I said that. Now, consumption is not automatically bad. You need housing, you need food, you need transportation. You should enjoy life. You should take your wife out. You should have experiences. You should live. The goal is not to become cheap. The goal is to be able to see it so it doesn't steal your future. Some consumption will give you life, but some consumption will slowly steal away your future. And the dangerous part is that most liabilities really don't feel dangerous at first. Well, a small subscription or $100 more in a higher car payment because of inflation that's not going to break the bank, right? A little more eating out, I make more money now, so I should go splurge on some random unnecessary things to celebrate. Perhaps upgrade my lifestyle, right? Get a nice watch, get that Gucci bag. These things do not always destroy you, but they take away all the surplus that you need in order to build your future. That is why your personal economy needs a dashboard. You can see now as we're talking how we have what I call the economy dashboard forming here. Now take the production engine, also known as the income section or column, and personalize it. This is your income or skills. What is it? You have a value column and you have a dollar amount column. Add in the value column how much you currently make. For your health, add a number that resembles a particular health goal for you. For example, levels 1 through 10, and separately have a goal sheet or a goal chart that shows what each number means. For example, level 1 means 1 to 3 push-ups, 10 curl-ups, 0 pull-ups, 5 to 10 squats, and 1 minute of cardio. And level 10 means you could do 100 plus push-ups, 130 curl-ups, 20 pull-ups, and 200 squats, and 90 plus minutes of cardio. Of course, you got to create your own levels and workouts that work best for you. And I'm not going to disclose what I am on this chart, so you guys don't roast me. But the point here is to be able to quantify where you are in your health so you can keep track of it on your economy dashboard, because it is part of your economy. Life is supposed to be fun, so treat it like a video game instead of playing one. The reputation row is a tricky one. I would treat it using some sort of a virtue chart. Like choose all the virtues that you want to work on and add them on your chart in levels, the same way as the health chart. For example, reliability. You want to be reliable. So level 1 being completely unreliable, to 2 being often late, to 10 means unshakably reliable. People think of you and they say, yep, this guy is going to be here exactly on time. That's a virtue you want to have. You can work on that, but you can create your own virtue or create your own chart with the list of virtues that you want to achieve. That is part of what builds your charisma. When people remember these things about you, they want you. Everybody can write, everybody can film, everybody can do whatever skill that's out there, but these virtues, these charismatic features about you that form and shape your persona, that is what differentiates you from other people doing the same thing. So that is why I tell you it is part of your economy dashboard. We can have a separate deeper dive video on this if there is enough interest, but basically the whole point is just to keep tabs of where you are. Now let's get to your network. Your network can be the same way as reputation and health. For your assets though, this row will vary very differently for each person. But this is just an example to give you an idea of how to tailor this for your own. Then you have your consumption section, also known as the liabilities, right? So that is your rent, your mortgage, your car payment here, debt, food, subscriptions, insurance, lifestyle, and everything else that pulls money out of your pocket. And yes, I do personally set a lifestyle budget. Set an allowance for you to be able to spend on fun, and if you don't use it, stack it for your next vacation or some other budget for something that you wish to have sooner. Then the third column is your distribution. That is what's left, not just money in, but time too. That is why there is a value column and a dollar column as well. So let's say in this example, that person makes $8,000 a month. Their basic expenses, $5,500 plus a lifestyle budget of $1,500. Now they have only $1,000 left. That $1,000 is not just extra money, net or cash flow. That is the fuel for their future economy. That money can go towards paying off that car loan debt, building savings. You got to have a safety net budget as well to set aside for a reserve or emergencies. You got to have a budget for investing, marketing, if you're self-employed, for your education, for a business venture, or buying real estate, or investing into your health and skills. Now do the same thing with time. Again, for this example, let's say after work, family, responsibilities, and sleep, you have about 15 flexible hours a week. Where do these hours go? Are they going into your production engine or are they being consumed? Because your personal economy is not only a money problem, remember? It's a time problem too. A person can be broke financially, but they can also be broke with their time. And honestly, time is way more rare. You could make money back anytime, but you cannot make time back. And this is where I think real estate comes in the conversation. Because a lot of people ask, should I buy a house right now? And my answer is usually, well, that depends on your personal economy, not just the market. Can you afford the payment comfortably? Say, again, in this example, your rent is like $1,600 and your monthly payment for a house is going to be $2,700. That is $1,100 more. You will likely have to take that from your net amount in the distribution section and add it to your consumption or liabilities section. And you only have $1,000. So there's $100 negative here that you need to take away from one of your other liability budgets. That's a lifestyle change. And that leaves you with absolutely nothing left every month. You still have to account for phantom costs as well of owning a house, like random repairs, the higher cost of utilities, assuming you are buying a larger home than what you're currently renting. So always ask yourself, is the home helping my long-term economy, or is it just making me house poor? For some people, buying a home strengthens their personal economy. Like, back to this example, maybe it will make perfect sense because this particular person lives an hour away from their work and this yields them 10 more hours a week to invest or redistribute back into something else in their production engine. Hey, this sounds like an absolute win for me in that case. And that is why the question is not just, what is the market doing? This will only make you fall for FOMO or fear of missing out. But the better question always is, what is this decision going to do to my economy? And this honestly doesn't just apply to buying a house. It works for buying a car or even starting a business or changing jobs or taking on debt or investing money, even choosing how you spend your evenings. Does this strengthen my production? Does this improve my distribution? Or is it just consumption, pretending to be progress towards production? So when I say focus on your economy, I do not mean ignore the world. Pay attention to the market. Pay attention to the interest rates, to inflation, to whatever is happening around you. But don't become obsessed with things that you can't control. You cannot control these things while neglecting the things that you actually can. You may not be able to control the politics, the mortgage rates, or inflation, or the job market, but you can control what you build. So you can improve your skills, your health. You can build a people magnet reputation. You can strengthen your relationships, redistribute your time and money towards things that produce. That is your economy. And the stronger your economy becomes, the less fragile you are when the outside economy gets weird. Because the goal is not to just survive the economy or catch the dip. The goal is to build one of your own. I'm Mina, and if this was helpful or gave you a better way to think about your own economy, please give me a like and subscribe for more. Thank you, and I wish you all the best economies, and I'll see you next time.